like, what, Drewski? What did you just say?
What did I just say? What?
Dang, you said something. I was like, wait, that's a good tagline for like the Open.
We're off to our rip-roaring start.
No, it was after. I was like, okay, let's ball or something like that.
Time to ball. Let's ball.
I don't know.
We're
It was
balling.
just chill.
This is the intro, by the
And
way.
play
I'm not
outs.
cutting
Oh,
this.
double play, double play, double play.
Oh man. Yeah, the Mets
Not a
are
double play.
starting in 3 minutes. Got a West Coast game today against the Padres, and then they're finally back home. They had like 4 separate West Coast trips, but they're finally done with that for the year. So that's good.
I think I have a couple things that we could start with, but I want to start with Jacob Misiorowski. Has thrown the record fastest pitch by a starter since tracking began in 2008. Through a 103.7.
7 is what the official was.
Yeah, 103.7 last night. And I watched a clip back of the pitch actually happening, and unfortunately the casters didn't even notice it.
Oh, well, because he's been touching the 103s all year. He's thrown like a bunch of them. The thing is on the StatCast or like on the viewing screen, it actually shows 104.
Yeah,
but because it's kind of rounding up.
Actually, yeah, this makes sense. That article I'm seeing, he's thrown the 12 fastest pitches by a starter. His previous high was 103.4. So I guess it's not the most surprising.
The funny thing is, so yes, he broke the record, and he's broken his own record this year multiple times.
Jeez.
That's what we're getting. That's this guy, the Brewers. The only reason why I was actually pulling that up, I mean, they're 39-23 right now. They have been an absolute tear since their early struggles. A commanding lead now in the NL Central, by 5 games. They have just Misiorowski's a big reason as to why they're doing amazing things. I mean, just to put this up there, I actually just watched a TikTok. It came across my feed the other last night, I think, where he was in the 7th inning. He got 1 out, and then he gave up like a walk and a single, and they were looking to pull him and go to the bullpen, and he just stared daggers into the dugout and it was like, no, I'm not leaving. No, coach, I'm good. And he did. He talked them out of it. So he struck out the first guy. I think he walked and gave up a single, or he gave a single and then he gave up a walk. Either or. It was 2 on, 1 out. And he proceeded to strike out the other 2 batters to go for a total of 8 strikeouts in the night. And the end of the video said, this is absolute ace material. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. This is
I feel like every pitcher just kind of dreams of having a moment like that where manager's coming to take you off the mound, you say, no, I got this, and then you just dominate.
But and that's the thing is, you can only get away with that if you are that good. He is, 78 innings pitched already this season. 1.5 ERA with a whip of 81. He's got 116 strikeouts already. Jesus. That's the thing is, it's not the fact that he's got a great ERA. It's also he is striking out people like crazy. And it's fun to watch him. He seems really cool.
I mean, there was like some controversy last year. He got named to the All-Star game after only making a few starts, and he did kind of have a rough end to last year, but I mean, he's proven the doubters wrong so far this year. You know, he had pitched in 5 major league games, was the fastest player to ever be an All-Star in history. So, you know, obviously kind of rubs some people the wrong way, especially when guys like Christopher Sanchez, who's been really the only pitcher in the National League better than Jacob Misiorowski this year, arguably. When guys like that get left off the All-Star roster, you know, there's obviously you got to prove yourself, and he's doing that this year.
I was just curious, to see how good is 78 innings pitched. It's for the top 10. Sandy Alcantara from Miami has 89 innings pitched this season already. So they're letting him go deep in games. But yeah, top 10 are in this high 70s going into the 80s innings pitched for starters. But yeah, somebody I just found out about. I think I sent you I sent both you the TikTok of Tolley doing the little jump up in the air to try and snag the ball, even though it's way out of his reach.
Oh, I saw
for
that
the Red
clip.
Sox.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who this man was, but goddamn, is he funny? He had that little jump, right? And I think in the same game, he did a balk after a guy was going to steal first or steal second anyways. He was like mid-delivery and
Why
the guy
am I being
was already...
called? What?
What?
What the? Okay, that's going to show up on the recording. I got called over Telegram by somebody random.
That's
wild.
wild.
Oh my gosh.
What if it was
Dude, that's happened to me multiple times. And it's just weirder and weirder.
It's a random fucking person. Like, I don't know them. Like, they're a bot or something. Okay. Well, that's going to show up in the recording. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Anyways,
I guess
back
he's not
where you were
pitched
at.
a lot. Yeah. I guess Peyton Tolley's only pitched for 47 innings this season. That's pretty low. All I know is he did this balk, which was hilarious because he goes into his windup, he looks back, and as he starts to deliver, the guy is already breaking the second, and he's like, "Fuck!" Like he's got such a good lead on him. Like there's no way, even if he throws this for like as the best fastball he's got as a strike, there's no way the catcher's getting him right. So he just kind of like stops, pauses, contemplates, and then throws. So there's a bit of a break in his motion, which counts as a balk. So the guy doesn't get the steal because he technically balked on his way to second, balked him while he was on the way to second. So, and he does this post game interview. I encourage everybody to go watch this post game interview because the reporter asks him about it, and his reaction to it, he's just like one of the most, I don't know. There's like a certain like professionality to a lot of baseball players where they try to say the right things. They like to seem composed and poised, This man, he is very much so like a character is the best way I can describe it. Both his reactions to when reporters asked him when he tried to jump up to snag the ball, the comebacker to the mound that was like 10 feet above the mound, 20 feet above the mound. If you haven't seen it, go look him up. Peyton Tolley for the Red Sox. Very funny stuff. Just crazy.
All right, let me do the intro real quick because we have not done the intro.
We haven't. We're just all out of sorts today, aren't we?
It's a day.
Well, welcome to the Untitled Furry Baseball Podcast. My name is Argo.
My name is Drewski.
I'm Solis the Wolf.
And yeah, we've already been yapping for about 15 minutes.
Talking about a bunch of pitchers. Do I speak of it?
Talking about baseball on a baseball podcast. How dare we?
Yeah, we're crazy.
Do I speak of the? You know what? Do I speak of the dangers of? I'm rooting. People are actually going to think I'm a Dodgers fan at this point. We have to acknowledge Shohei Ohtani, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
You don't want to. He is on the lower end of innings pitched
credit work.
61.
Credit work. Yeah.
But a .74 ERA this far in the season already, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean,
and he's batting. What do you do?
It's just basically rest in peace to anyone else who wanted to try and win NL MVP this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just basically got it on lock until he really just has aged enough to have his abilities diminished. And even still, I mean, I feel like as long as he's going to go out there and pitch like 150 innings and still put up solid hitting stats, are just going to give him the MVP every time. Voter fatigue may set in eventually, but,
it becomes tough, right? Because you can't argue. I mean, he's got 11 home runs, 300, and a 941 OPS. I mean, he's putting up good numbers. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
if you go for like if you talk about like a specific like offensive player of the year, probably not. There's probably somebody out there doing a little bit more. I mean, you could even argue that Schwarber
I
just has a ton
mean,
more home runs at this point.
yeah, I mean, his numbers are good, but he's not really, he's not jumping off the page offensively so far this year.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I feel like he doesn't really have to if he's also putting up these crazy
No,
numbers
that's
when
kind of the
pitching.
thing.
Well,
Like,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
2024, when he didn't pitch, like he had to put up a 50-50. And I mean, I don't necessarily think he needed to specifically get to 50-50. Like he had a monster offensive
crazy.
season. But yeah, I mean, he's
it's
just
hard. It's hard to argue somebody that can have a
I mean, yeah, like
0.74
I
ERA.
legitimately
Have
I
fucking bad
cannot
300.
argue. I mean, his numbers are a bit more pedestrian, pedestrian compared to what they've been the last few seasons.
That's
His
so
last
rough to say,
3 OPSs were 1066, 1036, 1014. I mean,
right?
he's slugging about 524 right now, which for him, the last couple seasons is low. For any other players, that's pretty good
It's
numbers.
awesome.
Like,
It's good.
I don't know, man.
That's the killer thing is like the only way you can dog on him is compare him to his own previous numbers, which is like
I know. It's just insane.
Look,
I mean,
yeah,
we're just witnessing history. I mean, we
Yeah.
will. I mean, there have been multiple guys. I mean, the Mets literally have 2 players on their current roster who were drafted out of college as two-way players, and were both converted to just being one's now a position player. He's our outfielder, Carson Bench. Then one's just a pitcher in Noah McLean. I mean, we're the people in the U.S. try to develop two-way players, and they just can't do it. So,
well,
I mean,
nobody's been this good in
yeah.
honestly, by numbers and with the fact that there's so much more training nowadays and there's so many different things in this era. It is kind of like, you don't want to say once in a lifetime, but it's definitely goated material at this point. Just the numbers he's put
I
up,
genuinely
even if
believe it
after this
is
he
once in a
falls
lifetime.
off, but
I mean,
yeah,
this is
because I don't think
still
you're
like
gonna see another Shohei in a decade from now. I don't think that's gonna happen. It could.
not even I feel like if I was a betting man and I was putting money on, I would put money on us never seeing another two-way player like Ohtani ever again in our lifetimes. I mean, think about it. Like, how long was there in between Shohei Ohtani and Babe Ruth?
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, and then again,
Things
there's
were
a
very different for
reason
Babe Ruth,
why. There's a reason why guys aren't two-way players anymore, because it's just too much.
Well, when
like Shohei Ohtani is a specimen like we've never seen.
When you pay that kind of money for a pitcher, or you pay that kind of money for somebody who goes 50-50, you expect their craft to be just that. You're not expecting them to be able to try and do both,
I mean, but that's like guys have to be like from the start pretty much have to be two-way players.
Yeah.
Like you can't be an ace pitcher throughout college and say, well, you know what? I think I'm also going to try hitting now. Like it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You could be the greatest pitcher in the world, and you're never gonna if you try and pick up hit. I mean, you'll suffer. Like your stats will suffer. And I remember, a few years ago, Brendan McKay tried to make his debut for the Rays, and he just didn't stick.
Yeah,
it does not work.
Just
That's why it's such a crazy, story seeing Ohtani. As much as we like to bitch and moan and think, oh, they're shoving Ohtani down our throats. I mean, I get why. Like, he is very realistically the greatest baseball player we will ever see.
It's literally the Tom Brady problem, right? It's by numbers, pretty damn good at their craft, if not goat material.
Yeah.
But you don't have to like the person. You don't have to like the things that they've done. And you can still kind of like flame them for that shit, right? But that is like just like you're saying, like you don't want everybody to keep voting Ohtani for like MVPs and stuff, but it's pretty fucking hard. Like, again, there are, I think, people out there doing better purely on offensive stats better than him. So if you're going for just like offensive player, you can make an argument against him. But a total MVP,
it's just not going to happen.
Can you imagine with what he's doing in like the kinds of wins, like wins above replacement on, pitching and what he's getting from his batting, like.
Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody's going to match that. I mean, you brought up Tom Brady, and here's the difference between Tom Brady and Shohei Ohtani. Tom Brady himself would probably sit down and tell you he was never the most physically talented quarterback in the league. He's not slow. He had the highest football IQ, again, that I think we will ever see. And you just got to respect the hell out of that. But the difference with Ohtani is, like, yeah, sure, it helps to have a high baseball IQ, but you don't go out and dominate on the mound like he does and put up the offensive stats that he does, which is without being ridiculously talented.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, yeah, you can bring up both, but it's just a completely different story between him and Ohtani.
Yeah,
this is the last time we're gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Argo.
You're good. I was just doing a quick lookup of other recent, notable two-way players, and the only one that I'm seeing here that one that I'm seeing here that is an example of a player that is comes into the league as kind of a two-way player, but then kind of switches over to one role is Michael Lorenzen, who came in.
Yes.
Yeah, he came in and hit and batted really well with the Cincinnati Reds out of Cal State Fullerton. And played as the outfielder, but then he would stop batting after 7 seasons with the Reds. After leaving, he went on to pitch for the Angels, Tigers, and Phillies, and he was named an All-Star and pitched a no-hitter in 2023. So, from what I see, is for him, it's kind of a different case of, like, where he was a solid player as a hitter, but then he made the switch to a pitcher. He was a two-way player at Cal State, but then they decided to put him onto, hitting at first and then switched him to pitching, instead of, having him being both. Meanwhile, that from what I'm seeing here, it's a lot of the times two-way players pick one or the other, or in this case, I guess, switch between them, which I find pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, the Mets have drafted multiple players in just the last couple of years who were in college as two-way players and very good at doing both things. But, once they got into a major league system, it was, you kind of just need to pick one to focus on, because I think major league organizations, by and large, are not really able to devote the proper resources to developing a two-way player. I mean, that's the difference with Ohtani. He obviously played professionally in Japan for several years before he came here, and was able to develop that there. And, it's just very different over there.
Well, again, it's all about, again, it kind of comes down to that, like, you're just not expected to be able to exceed expectation or exceed standards in both. You're going to be mediocre at both if you're going to do both. So why would you want to focus on just being that killer pitcher in that ace?
Yeah, teams again. Yeah, exactly.
Be that home run hitter or whatnot. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, teams would rather have, like, an absolute stud hitter, an outfielder, or an absolute stud pitcher versus having someone who is mediocre at both. I mean, that being said, though, I think, if you have a guy that's going to go out there and even he was just going to hit like 250 in a season with like 25 home runs and then still pitch to like a sub-4 ERA, I think if you ask a lot of teams, like, they'll take that any night of the week. I mean, that's, I mean, if you're going out there and hitting, 250 with, 30 home run pop, and you're still able to be a serviceable pitcher, I mean, but again, I mean, even for a player to get to that is just unheard of at this point. There's a reason that no one else has done it like Ohtani has been doing it, because it's, you can't sit there and act like no one's tried.
I was going to say, people have tried. They're just, nobody's been able to put it together like Ohtani has.
Yeah.
So, and I just wanted to very quickly clarify to everybody listening that, this is, you probably hear it every other place about him. I promise we're not going to sit here and talk about Otani every episode. We haven't talked about him, I think, for a while. So I figured let's just touch on it because he is still kind of killing it as much as we, to our dismay, for the Dodgers. Crazy pitching. No, I was going to say, do you have anything else to follow up with pitching? Because that's the only reason why I mentioned Otani, because we were kind of talking about pitchers.
I got nothing. I talked
Nothing
Mizrowski.
specifically to that, no.
Mizrowski pitchers. I was gonna mention one other than Munetaka Murakami, being injured, and he will be back hopefully in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Did you see the Judge news?
Judge is out for a while.
Out minimum of 4 to 6 weeks just for a reevaluation of his stress fracture on his rib. So it could be 4 to 6 weeks already puts us in July. It could be late August, September before we see him again. We don't know. They do expect him to be back at some point in time this year, but it's looking like they're erring on the side of caution, and they're wanting him to be 100% healed before they bring him back. Unless I could still see, like, if they go on just an absolute slide without him, you may see that time frame be brought up a little bit. But as long as there's no, oh my God, we are on an absolute slide, we need our captain back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, though. And people are trying to speculate. They're not quite even sure when it happened, because there was nothing notable the day like he got diagnosed with it.
Right.
So it's one of those things where he might have had a nagging injury and didn't realize it was a stress fracture and was playing through it or what. But oh man, never want to see injuries, but that was a big news one I saw this week.
I mean, it's, that was kind of the narrative for how long, was that Judge just couldn't stay healthy, and then he finally does. Every year, really, like post 2021, every year he's been fully healthy. He's won AL MVP. So, I mean, obviously, it's kind of disappointing for the Yankees to see, after all this time of him being healthy and absolutely dominating, him getting hurt again.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I'm kind of shocked to see that he was playing so long, because what I'm seeing here from looking up the cause of this injury was from an awkward diving play in late April. So he's been fighting through discomfort over several weeks, and I'm kind of surprised that it took him this long to actually get it checked out and like pulled from play. Like, kind of surprised me.
Yeah,
no, I'm wondering also if him waiting so long for this to be fixed, or waiting so long to actually get it checked out, might actually cost him like more time off the.
I think it's entirely possible. Yeah,
very possible. It's one of those things where I think, if you aggravate something like a stress fracture like that, it might have been even a smaller fracture at one point and could have been a lot quicker to heal, but who knows, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like aggravated kind of assumes that it wasn't that bad at the start, but then he kept playing on it and making it worse over time.
I guess you gotta give him props for playing through it, because that can't be comfortable.
I mean, I guess, yeah, but it's also, in my opinion, kind of stupid. You're making it worse for yourself. You're gonna ruin your team's. You're gonna pull you're the captain. You're gonna pull yourself from the roster for a longer period of time now because you didn't get it checked out early.
It is speculation. My thing here is, what I'm trying to say is, we're not in the rooms with him and his medical staff, so we don't know how much was discussed and how much was known, how much he was showing. You assume he was having those conversations and making the right choices, but like, it's crazy that it took until now for it to be diagnosed as a full-on fracture. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. It's really weird. Kind of crazy how that's going on, but big one. Big news on that. Yankees have Judge out for a while. Still, technically, they're a game behind the Rays because of the Rays have played, I think, the Yankees have played a couple more games than the Rays, meaning they've lost 2 more games than the Rays have played they're still doing pretty damn good. So it's one of those things like, well,
yeah, I think as much as judges the heart and soul of this team, I still feel like they have enough talent on this roster that they're gonna be fine. They're still gonna be a playoff team, unless they have a massive fall off and stuff.
Oh yeah, they're currently up 6-1 on Boston right now. So I think, and that's the top of the ninth. So 2 outs for Boston to score 5 runs to tie it. Gonna go ahead and say that's probably locked away. This could be my own version of the announcer's curse.
I hope it is.
God, nope. Sorry, they're down. Boston's down to 1 out. They've only got 1 more chance and nobody on. So the betting man would bet against Boston taking this back. But I actually need tarps off / like, yo, help me out, because Cardinals are 3-3 in the 8th, and we just got a leadoff single in the 8th. So Cardinals, come on, baby, let's sweep these Reds. Sweep them.
There is someone I want to talk about that I mentioned to Solis beforehand. I want to talk about Josh Naylor.
Oh, let's get through that. That's fun.
Drewski, you hear about all this with Josh Naylor?
No, I did not.
Oh, he got a pitch thrown at his head by the Tigers.
He took that way freaking better than I expected.
Yeah. Okay. So
worse people would have charged the mound. If you haven't seen it,
here's some context. So we're gonna start. Josh Naylor kind of pisses people off, and it's really funny. It's just kind of who he is. He's just one of those guys, And it started off with him running to, I think, first or second or something, and basically running into he was fielding a play at first, right? And he, instead of tossing the ball to the pitcher, he instead just ran at the base and got the tag out, got the out at the base himself, and ran into the runner, which was kind of stupid, kind of dumb there, but that's just one thing. And then Randy Arozarena hits a double, and Josh Naylor runs from first and slides into score. And from the looks of it, his sliding glove, I think it's a sliding glove is what it's called.
Yeah.
It looks like he throws the sliding glove at the catcher. He was like holding on to it, and then either he threw it or he lost it while trying to run and slide into the base, but it basically throws it at the catcher. It doesn't interrupt the play at all, but it's still, it hits the ground in front of the catcher and everything. And
causes people to get a little upset.
Yeah, it got them a little mad. It got the announcers were pretty mad at that. They were like, man, that's really, the Tigers announcers were not happy about it. And obviously the Tigers players were also not happy about it, because his next at bat, the ball was thrown at his head.
Oh, at his head. It's not even a freaking
I mean, that's
yeah.
Was he ejected? Was the pitcher ejected?
They were not.
Nope.
I mean, I feel like throwing at the head's got to be like a pretty close to an automatic ejection.
He did turn away from it, and it hit him in like the upper shoulder. He like bent away, and it ended up hitting him in the upper shoulder, but still pretty obviously thrown.
I actually did see this clip. I just did not have the other context behind it. I think I must have just seen it like scrolling through reels or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it out there that I don't know if it was. You almost never see a throw directly at somebody's head. You're trying to hit the guy, but a lot of times it's like maybe this one just got away from him while I was trying to hit him. It looks pretty egregious, though. I think I would have been on the more cautious side of, to calm tempers and stuff. I probably would have ejected him and been like, we can't have that.
Yeah. But
because Josh could be career ending.
Yeah, Naylor he took the hit and then was just laughing about it.
I know. That's what got me was like great. Normally people, especially when it's up by their head, even if it caught him in the shoulder, I can't believe he didn't rush the mound. Like that was
Josh Naylor isn't that guy. He wouldn't do that. but then he comes back to the catcher and just tells him like, this is the kind of game we're playing, huh? And then heads to first. It's so funny. So yeah, Tiger's mad at him, and along with that, Tigers really had a rough game yesterday, because they wasted their ABS calls in the challenges in like the first couple innings, and we kind of saw a prime example of why you should not waste your ABS, because there were two pitches back to back that were a good few inches outside the strike zone that were both called strikes, and they could not challenge them. And I could tell they were mad. They were real mad about that, but they wasted their challenges early and kind of screwed them for it. But those pitches were way outside too. They got real unlucky with those.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy hit batters, we were talking about Mizrowski earlier. He accidentally let one loose at 100 and some odd mile an hour, and it clocked. I can't remember who it was, right in the helmet, right in the ear flap. He was able to walk off on his own power. He was taken out of the game, but it was clearly unintentional. Mizrowski absolutely looked horrified that he did that, because he's one of the hardest throwing. He is the hardest starting throwing pitcher, I think, in history now. And unleashing one of those bad boys up and in like that. But no, that was pretty rough. Did we want to do a really quick around let's talk about our teams before me and Argo had talked a little bit about a subject before we started recording?
Which subject again?
The ABS.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I guess I can get started with the Mariners. They went on an 8-win streak for
That's
a good
great.
bit. Now they're currently 1-1 in a series against the Tigers, and they're going into the bottom of the 9th right now. Only up 1.
I'm really confused. Game day on MLB's. Sorry to interrupt. I'm watching my Cardinals right now, and there was a sack bunt that should have either loaded the bases or scored. Initially, it said runs were scored, but there's no out showing, I'm so confused. I don't know what the actual count is or how many outs there are right now.
You just gotta wait on it, I think. But anyways, Mariners had some pretty good series. We had another Untitled Furry Baseball Podcast grudge match when the Mets came to town.
Forgot about that. Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, which Mariners took that series 2-1. And yeah, I don't have much else to really say about the Mariners. They've been just overall solid. They're still in the lead in the AL West with a 2.5 game lead over the Rangers. And yeah, that's all I got for the Mariners.
I mean, they're looking a lot better than they were.
They're starting to heat up. They're starting to
pull their 8. I'm saying 8-2 in the last 10, which we'll be swapping, I think, to. Well, unless the last 2 wins were recently, but still, that's good. That's good. Cardinals are kind of keeping the kind of keeping up with everything. We're actually out of the wild card we're up in the wild card by 1.5 games right now, playing the Reds, which we just it did update just now. Finally, it was a sacrifice bunt that scored. Nobody is out in the 8th yet. Base is loaded, and we're up a run now, so we're up 4-3. So, this is where we really want to see some big lopsided numbers to close out the series against the Reds, solidify another really good series, get it done. We've been doing decent, 5-5 in the last 10. The Brewers just have been on these crazy win streaks recently to where they are just well and above in the Central right now. Honestly, that's the rest of our league. The rest of our league in the Central has been just very average. All of us are 5-5 right now, except for the Reds, who are 3-7 and about to go 2-8 in the last 10. So, maybe things are starting to kind of calm down in the Central. Maybe you're going to start seeing the Brewers might be kind of pulling ahead and being the leader, and the other few teams are going to be in contention. The Cards, Pirates, Cubs are going to be very much so in the contention for that wild card spot, or at least one of them, with the Reds, I think, expected to be kind of in the bottom anyways. They're by far in their expected win-to-loss ratio to be like 27-36. They are not supposed to be 31-32 right now. But other than that, I guess shout out Jordan Walker for continuing to do the amazing things that he's doing. I mean, shit, hit another home run. He tied his career high of 16 already. And he's batting phenomenally well, and he's been fielding really good, and the Cardinals just got more runs. So I'm feeling great.
Hell yeah. Drewski?
Yeah, Mets are kind of treading water right now. They closed out the month of May with a really great series, a sweep of the Marlins. And it's been a so-so road trip. They're 2-3 so far. They are up 2-0 right now in San Diego in the bottom of the second, so still very early, but generally I'm not going to be upset about a 3-3 road trip if they can hold on and win today. That being said, if they want to kind of climb out and go on another, deep, late deep run, you got to win pretty much every series you can. So, it again, I'm not gonna lose my mind over a 3-3 road trip if they can get that done today, but once they get back home, it's time to lock the F in. They are actually playing the apparently red hot St. Louis Cardinals next. To start our next homestand. Yeah.
I wasn't even looking at it. I forgot. Yeah. After today, it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we have a really
looking
contentious
forward
Central,
to.
man.
Yeah. I'm mainly looking forward to Friday, June 12th. June 12th has been a significant day in each of the last two seasons. Last year, June 12th was actually the day that Mets did win the game, but Pete Alonso made an errant throw that Kodai Senga injured himself trying to field, and I mean, he wasn't the same, hasn't been the same since then, and the season wasn't the same after that date because that was kind of the beginning of their long, slow collapse, missed the playoffs. But on the other side of things, on June 12th, 2024, Grimace threw out the first pitch. So, kind of hoping these things can alternate years a little bit. And, we had a bad one in 2025, but we're due for a good turning point in 2026. We are playing the Braves, and unfortunately, Mets don't really have the best history against them the last few years, but you never know.
Never know.
You know.
Will Grimace be making a reappearance this year?
If the Mets know what's good for him, then he better. I mean, we'll see, but that feels like a pretty obvious move.
Speaking about like rallies and stuff, the Cardinals are really excited about the whole tarps off kind of thing.
Yeah.
Been really fun to see that. It's really fun to see the fan base get energized by it. I think I talked about it last week. There was a big thing with the Cubs. We did take 2 out of 3 against the Cubs recently. But there was an instance where the Cardinals kind of flaunted against Pete Crow Armstrong, who's a very contentious person right now for the Cubs. he did rally back with a homer and kind of gave shade to the Cardinals, and then the next game, the Cardinals had some stuff going on, and they got to celebrate the whole tarps off thing again. And good old Pete was not able to rally them back and get the Cubs the help they needed at that point. Thankfully, it's one of those things where it's like, man, it's great when it's going well, but if the tarps off thing keeps happening and we keep losing, then it's going to be really bad really quick. Not sure. Did you all catch up on that Pete the Pete drama?
What's
Not
the drama?
a ton. I mean, the last thing I'm familiar with was him
was a few
going
weeks
at
ago.
it with a fan with
Yeah.
at the White Sox game.
Ooh.
Yep. He was yapping at some fan was yapping at an interesting thing that of course everybody on Twitter, I saw a lot of people on Twitter sounding off about this, but yeah, one of the fans in the outfield was yapping at Pete Crow Armstrong. They were heckling, that's what you do when you're in the you're that's a opposing team, especially a rival team, Cubs versus White Sox. You've got you gotta heckle them, and at one point he comes down there after I think he made a catch, right? I can't remember the exact setup, but he came over and I think he called the woman. It was either bitch or it was the Australian C word that you're not supposed to say. Um, so he took a lot of flack for that because players are typically not supposed to pop off against fans, right? And that
Yeah.
drummed up a lot of discussion on if fans can say it, why can't players? And I think I'm still on the side of players are supposed to, they're professionals. They're paid to be these people. You're not supposed to let these let the opposing fans get to you. So I do think you just can't let that happen. I'm not gonna fault him, but yeah, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Do you feel about it?
I mean, generally, I would say, as a Major League Baseball player making millions of dollars, um, sure, like fans shouldn't just be saying whatever the hell they want to you. Like, there's a line that you
Oh,
shouldn't
there's.
cross. I mean, there have been several notable instances of
Mm-hmm.
fans getting banned over stuff that they
Mm-hmm.
say in the stands. I mean, a couple years ago, a guy making comments about Ketel Marte's dead mother.
Yup.
Like, there's a line that you shouldn't cross, and I mean, there will be consequences when you do. Um, off the top of my head, I'm not sure if there were any consequences for the woman at the White Sox game, but um, I would agree that there is a line that should not be crossed,
Mm-hmm.
and I can understand wanting to defend yourself, but again, as a baseball player who's making all this money and who is somebody that a lot of kids probably look up to,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily trying to pull out the whole role model argument, but again, you're getting paid a lot more money. You shouldn't have to take whatever people say to you, but at the same time, like, you can't, you know, obviously there's sometimes a funny clap back on Twitter and all that. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
cool with, the occasional funny heckle back. Like, a lot of times it's all in good fun, but just because someone's cursing you out on sitting down the third baseline, you're kind of held to a higher standard. So,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
it's
kind of what I feel, yeah.
that's kind
I
of like
will
the
say,
same thing that happened. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, from my knowledge, I heard nothing about her. I think it was very general heckling, just trying to throw them off their game, just exactly what it's about doing. Um, Nothing too egregious. Just he got his emotions, let it get a little bit above him. It happens. But I don't
Sorry.
think Argo feels anymore. I just saw what happened.
Yeah, I don't I have not been paying attention because Andres Munoz just blew the save. Wow.
I was looking at the score and I was like, oh, there's only one more out to go. And I looked at the score and I go, oh.
Yeah, Andres Munoz could not throw a strike for his life, and when he did, it got hit.
Damn.
So, great. Awesome. Woohoo. Good job, man. Good job, Mooney.
Live reactions from Argo.
I don't know what's going on with him, okay? I'm crashing out, okay? Andres Munoz, he's had a rough year. He's got a 5.4 ERA, dude. He's our star closer. He's got a 3-4 record. He has blown so many saves. It is so infuriating.
You're going through you're going through the God, this is the experience the Mets fans have had for like the last decade. Like, you get a closer. I don't have a really good season. I mean, we had Juris Familia in 2015, perfect on saves. And then the next couple years, he just blows clutch save after clutch save. Edwin Diaz, big trade acquisition in 2019. He led the league in saves the year prior, was a Cy Young candidate as a closer. Has the absolute worst season of his career by far in 2019. And he had some good ones. He had really good seasons, 2022 and 2025. But, it was just, an exhausting experience watching him with the tightrope act, where he would, a lot of times he would walk the bases loaded and then just get out of it with 3 strikeouts. But, it's not an enjoyable experience as a Mets fan. And now we have Devin Williams, who, 2 years ago was sub 2 ERA, one of the best closers in baseball. And ironically enough, since Pete Alonso homered off him, he just hasn't been the same.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it. I mean, I can give you a little bit. I can give you a little bit of that right now. I'm scared right now. Cardinals are in the top of the 9th. Cincinnati's batting, so if they are down to 2 outs, but that's the point, is that we've been having some issues with our closer O'Brien. Was singing his praises, and he's still doing decent. He's still doing quite decent. But remember I was talking about, he didn't have an ERA all the way into, like, was it late April or something? It was a while, and he had not given up a single earned run. He's now got he's given up like 12 earned runs, 3.81 ERA. Well, like, obviously that's still fine for a closer. But he's only 16 of 20 in save opportunities. So he's actually kind of blown some saves recently too. And it's been more recent. He was so dominant earlier, and I don't know if the league has some footage on him and they're figuring him out or what's going on. But even now, I used to think he was really locked down. We got one quick out, and now he just gave up a double in a 2-run game. Any home run ties the damn thing. So I'm fucking scared now because he's not been doing so hot recently. He's been getting batted up a bit. So I get that. Now Munoz is obviously in a much more different category right now.
Yeah, he came off of being, one of the best closers the last few seasons, and has now this year just not been locking in. He's been throwing terribly as our closer, and he really just needs to pull it together. But yeah.
I was just gonna state, we did kind of mention this ABS thing. The Cardinals got their really first big ABS game-changing challenge yesterday against the Reds. In a 1-run game, 2 outs, 3-1 pitch. It was a 1 out and 3-1. Regardless, I think it was 2 outs. 3-1 pitch was called a ball, would have walked the guy. and giving them a really good opportunity. I think it was bases loaded. What did I send? I need to look at this really quick. I'm silly. I should have had all this. Oh yeah, it was. Oh, it was a game tying walk, so it was bases loaded. A 3-1 pitch was considered a walk. ABS challenged it. Very edge of the top right corner of the zone. Got overturned to a strike. The next pitch was a grounder to second that ended up being that final out. So what was a game tying walk called ball ended up being overturned for the strike. And they got the W yesterday instead of having to play at minimum. Well, they could have scored in the bottom of the ninth, I guess, but who knows? And you had a little bit of a story about what was it, the Tigers?
I talked about it earlier already. Yeah.
Oh, did we talk about it already?
I mentioned it just a little bit when I was talking about the Tigers. In game 2 of the series, they burned all their ABS, all their challenges early on, and then ended up missing out on being able to challenge 2 very obvious balls that were called as strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which Drewski, it sounds like you saw that clip.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I think we're going to approach the point where teams will maybe get one more challenge, but I also think that, like, in situations like that where it's just so egregious, like, we obviously have the technology to go back and, really check if it was a ball or a strike. Like, it should be like how it is currently with regular challenges. Like, if you're out of challenges and if it's past a certain point, you can request a review, like a crew chief review, and they can go and back and look at it, and they can decide, I'm just gonna get together and decide if they're going to grant one or not. But I think in situations like that where it's just so blatantly obviously a ball, or the wrong call either way, I think you should really be able to go back and request your review.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really fair. I mean, obviously teams should be smart with their challenges, like, don't waste them, but at the same time, I think as it evolves, I think we're going to see probably a change like that. At least I would hope.
I worry about this because this is there's people that are already a few steps further than you, where they're already being like, why do we even have umpires still? And
yeah, I think we may get to that point too. That's a fair point.
Then, well, at that point, then why do we have batters? We can make machines that can hit homers every time. If we're gonna have robots do everything, then why even? You get into that kind of conversation.
I think that's a fair
baseball
point too.
very quickly becomes, well, if we're gonna optimize everything, then why do we even have humans playing? Right? Is kind of what it gets down to. That's the beauty of umpiring, and that's why I think it's more of the old guard, old baseball feel of like, well, the whole point of umpiring is it is kind of human. We didn't have that technology. We're adding technology to make it more fair, but at what point are you just going to let technology take over the entire sport and there will be no human element?
Yeah, you start to lose
that's
the
kind
humanity.
of your worry. Yeah. So I think it's a slippery slope. I actually really wanted this discussion because I think people just need to really get under and understand that if you want umpires and that human element to still exist, you're going to have to let some of these unfortunate, egregious calls happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not game-changing calls. Hopefully, well, without like not direct, like just like the last night. Hopefully, say the Cardinals were out of challenges and they weren't able to challenge that ball called game tying walk, hopefully it's not one of those kinds of times where that's where the missed call is, right? You hope it's in the middle of the game, nobody's on base, and it's a bad 1-1 call, because it's changing the possibility of the pitch and the batter's attack or how they're approaching that plate appearance, but it's not inherently literally changing the game in that moment, right? And I'm not sure with the Tigers how big those walks were or those balls were, but you just kind of hope it's not that.
Like how big they were to changing the game.
Yeah.
I mean, they were down 4-0 and they were shut out for the rest of the whole game. I don't think it would have changed much in that scenario, but
at least it was that. I guess.
Yeah.
it sounds bad, but it's like that's the kind of thing. It's like, and I think we're starting to see that with all the averages, right? With everything, is like it's not an overwhelmingly amount of percentage of overturned calls. It just isn't. Where I think a lot of people thought we'd see 80 or 90%. I think some people overinflated how many calls would be overturned.
Right.
I mean, I think it's just the ones that are noticed. Like when you really notice a bad call, it's because it's that bad of a call.
Right.
And I think people kind of blow it out of proportion. Whereas I think, I would agree there needs to be accountability over calls like that. But at the same time, like, I don't think umpires are missing calls that badly that often.
Right. And maybe there needs to be some sort of review on those kinds of egregious calls when it comes down to the difference between, it's a bases loaded 3-2 count, 2 out in the bottom of the ninth. You may want to be a little bit more critical of those calls, right? But then you start getting to that really nuanced discussion of like, well, how are you going to make that argument when instead of this guy getting struck out in the 5th inning, he gets walked and then the next guy hits a 2-run bomb and that tied up the game? We'll never know. It's the what ifs, right? So there's no perfect answer here. A lot of it comes down to how much are you willing to let technology take over the game versus you're just gonna have to live with some bad calls and go about it. Maybe you involve ABS more in the playoffs, make it a little bit more.
I would push for something like that, where ABS is in the more high later innings. There's just more opportunities for calls like that, or maybe like give each team an extra one. Because I just think back to postseason scenarios or big scenarios like that, like back at the World Baseball Classic, the strike call that got the United States to the finals was egregious. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was bad.
I mean, go situations back and like watch.
That. There's some World Series games that ended on bad umpire calls, right?
I mean, if you go back and watch, there was a performance by Livan Hernandez in the 1997 NLCS en route to the first World Series in Marlins franchise history. But there was a game against the Braves where he had 17 strikeouts, and you hear that like, oh, that's awesome. It's one of the all-time great postseason performances. There were so many called strikeouts that were just so blatantly outside or that were just blatantly not strike. I mean, God, if you have not watched this, go back and watch highlights from it tonight. I'll post a link for you guys. I will post a link for you guys right now because I even saw several YouTubers when discussing the change, not just ABS, but the change in general in technology that's used to track balls and strikes. Like even from the beginning when you had the strike zone visible on TV, I've seen this brought up so many times with just how atrocious the strike zone was for that game. I don't know, what the umpire's deal was. I don't know if he was a family friend or something, but it was
he bet on the game. He bet on the game.
I mean, I was gonna say, I don't know if he bet the over on strikeouts, man. It is brutal though, and
yikes.
I am sending a link for you guys to check out right now.
Hell yeah.
But it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Livan
Hernandez.
Livan Hernandez, 1997 strike zone. All right.
We'll give that a watch later, but I think it's a good point to end this at because we've been going for an hour now.
Yes. I gotta interrupt really quick. Cardinals won.
Good for you. Real good for you.
Good. Great. Mets, I hope the Mets hold on. They're up 2-0, top of the 4th. Benaya is pitching well so far, which has been a rare sight to see. We got another runner in scoring position right now, so hopefully they'll actually, take advantage of that.
That's so
but yeah.
great. I do want to touch on one final thing though. We talked about it a lot last. I know. I'm salty. I'm moving on. I want to talk about the Men's College World Series. Some developments. Some teams made it out of their regionals. Unfortunately, my goats at Washington State were eliminated in swift fashion by 4-0 loss to Oregon, and then in the losers bracket, Oregon State got their revenge 10-1. So unfortunate, but still glad they got a win in the postseason. But teams that have made it to the final 8, because now the basically went to the Super Regionals, which is a best of 3 series between 2 winning teams from the regionals. Some notable teams to make it. West Virginia is their first time in program history making it to the College World Series. Into that
they kicked
8.
the crap out of Cal Poly yesterday.
Yeah, holy shit, 17-1. Wow.
You said that there's a lot of times these can be really lopsided.
Yeah, there's a lot more skill discrepancy in college baseball, but we're seeing Ole Miss with an upset over Auburn, 5-3, making it. Georgia beats Mississippi State 11-9 to make it. We're currently, I guess that was a 2-0 series wins for both of them. And then currently going on right now, we got a close game in the bottom of the 8th in Game 3 between North Carolina and USC. USC is up 3-2. That would be an upset. Texas leads Oregon 1-0 in the series. Alabama is leading 1-0 over St. John and is currently up 3-1 in the top of the 4th. And then Oklahoma is currently up 1 game on Kansas, which would also be an upset. So, yeah, pretty exciting stuff. I can't wait to see how this ends up. Do we know when the College World Series will happen? Will we have some results by next episode? I'm not sure.
So the College World Series begins on Friday, June 12th, and will go to Monday, June 22nd. So we'll have a couple scores.
Okay.
But it'll be a couple weeks before we actually discuss the final results.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like June 12th is a big day.
Big day.
I want to hear your comments about what you guys think. How far should ABS and technology go?
That's a good question.
Yeah, let us know.
I want to know, because I'm struggling myself. Because when they're big egregious calls like that, you almost wish they could be overturned in the moment.
Yeah.
Like every single time. It shouldn't even be the umpire's call. But also, at what point do you just get rid of umpires? And that's going to change the contracts and how all that. Oh, it's going to be a freaking nightmare to figure out too.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. This has been the Untitled Furry Baseball Podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you guys next week.